just like in our healing journey, I want you to think about where you once were. Let's say you were in an addiction, or let's say you had major anxiety, or you were in, deep depression, or, have some deep pains, or had some emotional trauma that you needed to, work through. Just think about the person that you needed to become in order to shift out of that reality, right? And I'm just thinking very, lately a lot of my clients have been dealing with deep grief, with kind of shock, with horror, with confusion, with dealing with a lot of chaos in the world. And so and here's where sometimes the identity shifts start in very small increments. So sometimes we think, oh my God, we have this big thing. But so one of the things that I had to shift in the last month is I had to be a person that slept a lot more. And that's very counterintuitive to thinking like, oh, business, you're hustling, you're working hard. But, if I'm going to energetically support all of these people, there's some days where I was sleeping like 11, 12 hours. And again, for some people that mean like, whoa, that's very lazy of you. But it's like I needed to, right? If I'm carrying all the weight, I'm not carrying it, but if I'm holding space, so let me erase that. I'm not carrying people's weight, but if I am holding space for people in deep grief or confusion or horror or trauma, that takes a toll on my energy system. So part of my identity shift, which is not, here's the thing, it's not necessarily related to the external world or what we think a good business person is. I had to understand, well, in my business, if I'm going to support people, on that deep level, I need a lot of sleep, because otherwise my system gets burnt out with that kind of frequency. And I have to recharge and also do other things to increase my frequency. Like I dance every day, somatic dance every day. So many things I do, but that's one of the things that I do. So ask yourself, and just take a moment now just to ask yourself, who am I becoming? And start to future project yourself into the future and see that version of who you are. Who am I becoming? And maybe there's a picture, maybe there's just a knowing, maybe there's a feeling, right? And what does that identity, that new identity, what kind of choices do they make? So if I'm a person that supports people in deep grief, core wounds, deep confusion, the choice I make in order for me to support that reality is that I sleep much more. And I have to admit, I kind of what's the word? It's a struggle, because I know from the external, my husband, he really works hard and he doesn't sleep much. So for me, I have to kind of battle inside of myself, knowing that I'm doing this for my business, but he might feel like, why, what is this? Why aren't you working, or kind of thing, so there's that. Okay. So, who are you becoming, and what, and this is a question you can ask yourself, if you're a person who wants to make more money, if you're a person who is leading, a particular offer, or working with a particular group, or what I call your dreamiest client, who do you have to become, right? And what choices do they make? And so here's the thing. You don't have to become that person today. You have to make choices based on what that identity would choose, which is most often different from the choices you're making today. Okay, let me repeat that. The choices that your new version, your new identity will make will be different from the choices you're making today. Because we know if we keep on making the same choices, we have the same outcome. So the formula, we can keep it simple so that we don't get so caught up in like, oh my gosh, now I have to become this guru and I have to like, you just like, what would that version of me choose? And I don't want to hear no, like I wouldn't know, just know that it would be different than what you would choose now. So just choose. Just choose. Just imagine. And I know deep down, most of us know, right? Most of us know, oh yeah, I'd probably talk to that client. Oh, I would raise my prices. Oh, I would offer this particular service to this particular person. Oh, I would work this much. Oh, you'd make particular choices because you already know what kind of dream life you want, especially if you have an entrepreneurial spirit. Okay? So that correlation between building your business and your healing journey are so important because the thing is you've already done it naturally or intentionally.